Good morning. Today is April 22nd, 2020. It's a Wednesday. Today, I will read the article about flu pandemics and you will answer questions about the reading so that I know that you understood what you've read. The text is a little bit difficult because it's more science-oriented, but it would help you understand text in another subject or content area. Okay, so let's look at the difference between virus and bacteria. Bacteria is actually bigger. This is how it looks like. And the virus, they're smaller. Okay, so physically, or how they look different, but there are other differences between them. So bacteria, they're large. They can reproduce on their own. That means they can multiply on their own. They can cause infection. You learned that word yesterday. And there are good and bad bacteria. Okay? Sorry, that's a typing mistake. It should be there are good and bad bacteria. So not all bacteria are bad. The common cold is actually a virus. It's not a bacteria, so I'm sending my apologies for the correct information in my teaching video. I should have researched that some more, but I did the research, and this is the difference between bacteria and virus. For virus, they're in between living and non-living. What does this mean? They need a host to reproduce or to be able to live. They can't survive on their own. So without a host, they're gonna die. So a virus can take over your body and only produce virus cells. So once they're in your body stops acting normally, and then the virus cells would take over. So that's why people who get a virus, they get really sick because their body is not functioning normally or not functioning well. Okay, so let's start reading the article for today. It's called Flu Pandemics. In 1918, the world suffered one of the worst flu outbreaks in recorded history. A flu pandemic, or worldwide outbreak, infected roughly 1 in every 3 people in the world. So in 1918, about 1 in 3 people got this pandemic, which we will read about what it is. Record keeping was not very accurate at that time, so the final death toll remains unknown. Okay, so the number that they say, it may not be true because how they kept the records was not accurate. Okay, that means if something is not accurate, there are some mistakes in it. Remember, not accurate. Given what we know, it is estimated that as many as 100 million people died from the 1918 flu pandemic. It is still considered to be the worst natural disaster in history. Okay, so we can answer the 5 W's in this one. So think about it. When did the flu pandemic happen? When did the flu pandemic happen? So if you said 1918, you are correct. 1918 was when it happened. Okay, so how many people died during the flu pandemic? How many people died during the flu pandemic? So if you said 100 million people died, you are correct. Okay, so remember that it says here 1 in every 3 people got it. Okay, so it was really bad. So let's go to the second paragraph. The flu, short for influenza, is caused by a virus. When the human body detects any virus, the immune system becomes active in order to fight it. Typically, people with strong immune systems, such as healthy young adults, recover faster from the virus than people who have weak immune system, such as the elderly or very young children. However, the 1918 flu virus killed more healthy adults than it did the elderly or the very young. The 1918 virus was so deadly that people's bodies overreacted. Strong immune systems then became too aggressive in fighting the virus and actually caused more harm, often killing those infected. Okay, so let's stop here. Who was affected by the flu or influenza? Who was affected by the flu or influenza? Okay, so the flu or influenza, basically, almost everyone, remember, 1 out of 3 people got it, right? So whether you are old or young, you would get it. But the most damage that was done was to people who have very strong immune system. Because when you have a strong immune system, your body becomes aggressive in fighting the virus. That means it's ready and willing to fight the virus. And so it's producing more cells or antibodies than necessary. And so it harmed those people. Okay? That was the problem. They didn't recover or get better faster. So let's go to the third or last paragraph. Fortunately, science, record keeping, and disaster response measures have all improved greatly. Today, doctors have better medicines to treat potential outbreaks, and they know more about how virus spread. In 2009, another flu pandemic broke out. The virus was related to the one in 1918. However, this flu virus was less dangerous and did not cause people's immune systems to overreact. Also, medicines to treat or prevent the flu were stronger, so the 2009 pandemic caused only a tiny fraction, it means small amount, small number, of the amount of damage done by the pandemic in 1918. Okay, so in this paragraph, paragraph 3, or the last paragraph, they are comparing the 1918 flu pandemic and the 2009 flu pandemic. So find the sentence that tells you the difference between the 1918 flu pandemic and the 2009 flu pandemic. What sentence tells you the difference? I'm going to give you guys a couple of minutes to think about it and find it in the paragraph. So if you said this flu virus was less dangerous and did not cause people's immune system to overreact, you are correct. This part, they are talking about the 2009 flu pandemic. So it's less dangerous than the 1918 flu pandemic because people's immune system did not overreact. Okay. Another question I have is, what was the reason that the 2009 flu pandemic didn't affect so many people? Okay, I'll repeat the question. What's the reason that the 2009 flu pandemic didn't affect as many people? So find the answer in this paragraph. So if you said that it didn't affect that many people because of the medicine to treat it, the medicine then, it was stronger than the one in 1918. And it's probably better because there's more funding and research involved in creating the medicine. So that's why there is only a tiny fraction of the amount or small number of people who had it, because there were better medicines in 2009 than in 1918. Okay, so this is what the reading for today is about. The other pandemic we have now is the coronavirus. Okay, so some of the questions I would ask would be related to that. So before we ask questions about the coronavirus, let's go to question number 1. How does the 1918 pandemic compare to other natural disasters? So natural disasters would be earthquake, tsunami, tornado. If you compare the 1918 pandemic to other natural disasters, can you tell me which one is worse? Is the 1918 pandemic worse or natural disasters? And you have to say why or the reason for that. So you can say the 1918 pandemic was worse or better compared to other natural disasters because you need a reason for that. So you only have two choices here. You can say it's the worst or it's the best, okay? Was it a good thing or a bad thing? You tell me, okay? And you give me a reason for that. Number 2, how did the 1918 flu virus affect people differently than most other flu viruses have to date? So when we're talking about other flu viruses, we can talk about the coronavirus because that's the most up-to-date virus that we are experiencing now. Okay, so we can say the 1918 flu virus affected people by, okay, how did it affect people? Think of like, you know, how many people died, how many people got it, and then compare it to the number of people dying and the number of people who are getting coronavirus now. So you can say the coronavirus affected people by, explain that, okay? Number 3, explain the similarity and difference between the 1918 and 2009 flu outbreak. So remember, this question is in the last paragraph or third paragraph. You can find the answer there. So you can say, what's the same about the 1918 and 2009 flu outbreaks, okay, is what's the same about them, and then talk about the difference, okay? So these are the 3 questions that you guys have to answer. Tomorrow you have research work to do, but for today is just answering the reading comprehension questions. If you guys have any question, please let me know. I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Have a good one. Bye.